Hello my dear friends and welcome to my channel. Don't forget to make yourself a cup of tea or coffee if you want, because today we have very interesting stories, and one of them is a story about a man who thought he had rights to do everything he wanted but was proven wrong. Please subscribe if you haven't and I hope you'll enjoy it. Now, to start off, some preamble. I am a 19, about to be 20-year-old male, visiting home from college. I love jokes and pranks. I have also just had my wisdom teeth removed the day prior. My stepsister is 13 or 14, I can't remember, and loves cheer practice. She often practices with friends in a park, in a more casual scene than full team practices. Now on to the story. I was ordered to be the DD, or designated driver for my little stepsister, since everybody else in my family was busy. Since the pain in my teeth wasn't too bad, and I knew I couldn't, I just skipped taking my morning oxy, for the pain, and just took my ibuprofen. I was told all the details of the drive, just told, pick her up, and bring her home. That's all. Easy peasy. So I get to the open park, where there they are, still practicing some stuff like the cheers and roll and whatnot. I just park on the road and text her phone, letting her know that I'm ready for her, whenever she is. I often wait in the car, because I love my music, she just wants radio. I scan the park while listening to my music and notice something odd. There is a woman, sitting on a park bench, just glaring daggers at these girls. Like, full-on murder-filled psychopathy-induced hatred. I was scared for them, and I was across the street. So, knowing that my stepsister hates confrontation and I wouldn't want her to get hurt by this person, I opted to not just wait in the car, but to wait by the edge of the park. Just in case. As I got out of my car and neared the park, I kept examining this woman. 35 or 45 maybe, looked like an old bat with nothing better to do than have a stick up her butt at all times and let everybody know that she disapproves of their crap. God, she looked annoying. So, by the time I had reached the edge of the park, my stepsister and her friends had seen me approaching and started running towards me. It was here that she made her move. Cast. EM. Scary woman. LS. Lil sis. LSF. Little sister's friends. 2 girls, both the same age. Me. Mind y'all, I don't think they had noticed Granny Wingnut over yonder, as while they were running over, they looked like they were happy, not scared or shaken. But whatever. I looked over it if the corner of my eye to watch the EM but she had gotten up to start approaching us. I almost started sweating from the stress of her angry strut towards us. It was quite intimidating. Hey op, me and my friends were just wrapping up, wanna watch while we do our routine. Now, the girls all looked up at me like they had just been promised a sack of pure gold nuggets if I did what they asked, and though I'm not a big fan of watching cheer routines, I felt charitable. Besides, I'm not doing anything better, and with EM rapidly approaching, I was kinda scared for their safety. So I agreed. LS and her friends all shot off towards the rubber black tarmac area and begin to get set up, and I just situated myself to lean against a tree to watch them, meanwhile, watching EM get closer, but not to the girls. I made sure I had put myself between the EM and the girls. She would have to come through me to get to them, with whatever problem had caused her to get off her crotchetile butt. As the girls begin their routine, I can only stand with pride as they hold themselves regally and are performing it flawlessly. Now, I said I wasn't much for cheer, but hey, anybody can appreciate a well-working routine. Then, my moment of small pride was shattered by an ear-piercing voice. It was so grating, a chill went down my spine. Excuse me, are you the guardian of these delinquents? I just turned, as slowly as possible, to look at her. I wanted nothing more than to just bend down to her level and flick her nose and say, back off, witch. But I didn't. I just looked at her like I was bored by her. What? I was trying to piss her off. More pissed she became, the more I loved talking to her. Are you the guardian or parent of them? She pointed behind me, reminding me of the girls doing their routine. I turned back, now facing the girls again, and decided it would be better to talk to her while not facing her. She wasn't the prettiest piece of poop in the park. I'm just the driver, lady. I drive them where they need to go. Well, whatever, you goddamn teenagers are all useless nowadays anyhow. You just seemed older than them, and I wanted to let you know that I think their attire is horrendous. Look at those harlots, trouncing themselves around in nothing more than spandex and low-cut club dance clothes. Now guys, I can't take this crap and not just be hearing from her lips the most beautiful uttering of "Hey kiddo, just screw my crap up." So I turn back around and address her properly. First, we aren't useless. We are what you old people made us to be. If that's useless, then you old people really know how to make 'em, don't ya? She sputters at this, aghast that I might fight back against her stupidity. Second, I'm sorry lady, but unless you come from the Committee of Correct Clothing, I don't give a single hell what you think of their attire. Now, you can screw right out of here and stop staring at freaking kids like a child harasser. She's now let her daggers of staring fall into me. She's red with rage, and I can pretty much guarantee if I kicked her, she'd explode. Luckily, not really, the girls are finished with their routine and come running back over to me. Yikes. Not great timing. You three had better go home and change immediately. I don't want you hearin'. Nah, not on my freaking watch. I interrupt her, just fully using my loud teenager voice to trump her annoying, nails on chalkboard screech. You are harassing us. If you want to go ahead and leave us alone for the rest of time, that'd be great. Points 180 behind her, start walking, or else I'll have to call upon the authorities. The girls see what's happening and decide to wait about a meter behind my back. Good decision. You moron, you are so goddamn disrespectful. I have tried to be nice to let you know that the girls you have are being utter easy girls. But if you don't want to listen, I guess I'll have to call the cops. Hashi puts her hands on her chubby thick hips and looks at me like she just won $1 million freaking dollars. Now, to me, a fellow craplord, this made me mad. I knew she had an empty threat of the cops. I knew she was in the wrong. But seeing as I had already wasted enough time with her petty crap, I decided to just end it as fast as possible. Besides, when she said, "Easy girls," the girls behind me gasped. I can't have them doubting themselves. I know how hard girls are on themselves. So I did the one thing my dental surgeon said I shouldn't. 1. I said, "You've done it now, puta madre." Spanish for the effect, I took a year in HS, almost failed. 2. I do volunteer work for a haunted house, so I know how to chant demonically and roll my eyes back in my head. I started to do that. Looks pretty terrifying, like a standing demonic possession. 3. I bit down on one of my wisdom teeth sites and tasted some blood while I was chanting. I knew the incantation was ready. Blood for the blood god, so I stopped my chanting suddenly and let my eyes come forwards, and with my most malicious, baby-eating, soul-devouring grin, I let the blood dribble down my chin and said the final words. I just cursed your soul to eternal hell. And I laughed so hard at the skit I just pulled off, making it seem legit. She started banshee screaming and booked it out of that park so fast, I couldn't breathe. That obese woman knew how to run. So after I was done laughing, I stood up, wiped my mouth, and took some gauze out of my back pocket, put it into my mouth, both sides to help the bleeding, and turned to the girls. All but one had gone pale with fear. I looked at my LS and just said, "Sorry about that, I can't handle baby boomers when they got all holier than thou, self-righteous butt witches in my face." So I got her to go away. My sister just looks at me, shakes her head, and says, "Thank you, but I was gonna kick her teeth in. Anyways, can you just drive?" So it ended. A happy ending, except for me. I had to deal with that EM and her butt stick. But it's not that big of a deal, I just cursed her to hell. All in a day's work. I love this story, and also, mad props for that skit. This was very entertaining to read. I'm more surprised that she didn't call you a child harasser first. I work for a towing company handling releases of impounded vehicles. This is the first entitled parent situation I've had, and I'd love to share it. I will be me. Entitled Idiot Head, Kid. EK and Mother Not So Dearest. EM. We had a vehicle get impounded with some serious damage due to drunk driving. The driver of the vehicle was not the registered owner. It sat in our yard until about 3 days ago when we got payment and released said vehicle. EK showed up on Monday, hoping to release said vehicle, showed up with nothing but $10. What he didn't know is that since it was impounded by the police, he needed a release certificate, and since it had been in our yard for a month, the price was definitely more than $10. $10 doesn't even cover the administration fee. EK waited patiently in line waiting for me to finish with the previous customers, so I didn't expect much from him in regards to temperament and attitude. When I was done with the previous customers, he came up and said he was here to get his vehicle. I pulled up the vehicle information I gave him, and I realized he wasn't the registered owner, and by law, we can't release it to anyone who isn't the registered owner. I told him, so the conversation that follows is, it's my car, I'm the only one that drives it, so it's mine. That may be the case, but you're not the registered owner, and we need the registered owner to sign our paperwork. But it's my car, I want it. I can pay for it. Well, judging by the fact you're holding $10 in your hand, you can't in fact pay for it. $10 is more than enough, give me my car. The current outstanding balance owing on the vehicle is $468. Your $10 doesn't cover that. BK looks at me with a state of confusion on his face and proceeds to leave. I figured that was the end of it. I was so wrong. Not even an hour later I received a call from EM, the actual registered owner of the vehicle. We went through the whole vehicle, make, model and color. Why is my son telling me $10 won't cover the costs? That would be because the current amount owing is $468. How is it that much? It's been here for over a month now. We have storage fees for vehicles impounded for drunk driving and various other things. It wasn't there for a month. And what does drunk driving have to do with any of this? It's been here for over a month. We picked up the vehicle on February 27th. The driver of the vehicle was pulled over after hitting a telephone pole and blew over the legal limit, hence why the vehicle was impounded for drunk driving. How has my son been getting around for a month if the vehicle was there? Huh? Answer me that. I have no idea, seeing as I don't know you or him. I do know that the vehicle has been here for over a month, though, seeing as I processed the paperwork when it came in. You're lying. You're freaking lying. I'll be down there soon. Okay, just so you know, if you'd like the vehicle to be released, you need to pick up a release certificate from any SGI issuer, thanks. Click. Should add now, we have a police officer always on the property, many threats have been uttered, and violence is a major thing here. EM and EK show up with some fancy looking guy, and I get the paperwork ready before they even make it through the door. Turns out, fancy looking guy is her lawyer. This is my lawyer, he needs to see the paperwork right now. Okay, sounds fair. After what seems like forever, was probably only 15 minutes, the lawyer pulls EM aside and tries to quietly tell her that there's nothing he can do. You better do something or you're freaking fired. I can't do anything, all the paperwork is here, and maybe I could have done something at the time this all happened, but it's been well over a month now, and my hands are tied. At this point the cop is closer to the counter, listening in, waiting for any point he has to jump in. Why was the vehicle impounded again? Hit a telephone pole, caused major damage and drunk driving. Is that the truth? No, she's lying. I'm only 16. Where would I even drink? Told you he couldn't have been drinking. Lower your price and give us the car. Hello, miss. I'm just curious as to who will be towing the vehicle home. EK will be driving it home. Sorry, no. With the amount of damage done to the car, it's best that it's not driven, and considering EK is 16 and was caught drinking and driving, he has no license. EK wasn't drinking and driving. He still has his license. Excuse me, EK, can I see your license? I don't have it on me. It's okay, I'll just find you on my nifty little laptop here. PO proceeds to pull up EK's file and bam, no license, has to go through the whole driving course again, has a fine to pay for drinking and driving and everything. He turns his laptop so EM and lawyer can see it. EM without another word pays the outstanding balance on the vehicle, pays us extra money to tow it back to her house, and they all leave together. The second that door closed though, oh boy. Judging by what I could hear through the door and what I saw on the cameras, EM is pissed that EK made her look freaking stupid and that EK would be paying her back for years over this crap. Her lawyer said he wouldn't be working for her further and got in his car and left. As they got closer to the vehicle though, EM smacked EK on the back of the head, and judging by what happened next, he was left to find his own ride home, seeing as she left without him. Sounds like she might not be too much of an EM, good on her for at least trying to, sort of, discipline him. Then again, have to wonder how the EK got that way in the first place. This is from a while back, but I read a post this morning about entitled parents forcing child mind duties on someone, and that brought this to mind. In my early 20s I worked at the head office of a movie memorabilia distribution company in the UK, a big one. We were exhibiting at a trade fair at the NEC. Our customers were places like HMV, Forbidden Planet, SDA, TESCO, and lots of small businesses who would make appointments or stop by our stand to check out what's new. The kind of stuff we distributed wholesale was Harry Potter wands, Star Wars lightsabers, you get it. Things that really should be toys but were priced for adults. These events are usually just 1 week long, every February. The entitled parent in my story stopped by and was picking things up and putting them down. I saw her on the far end of the stand take out a walkie-talkie and wave it at her son. It was a big stand and I was dealing with a customer, so by the time I realized she's dumped her kids and run off, she was out of sight. Her little girl was maybe 4 years old and her little boy was possibly 7. Total guesswork on these ages. He had the other half of the walkie-talkie and completely freaked out when we asked where his mum was. He really panicked thinking he was in trouble. The little sister was perfectly happy grabbing and snapping bits off of prototypes. The NEC is a convention center made up of multiple halls, each one the size of 6 football fields. It's huge. When the little boy started crying into the walkie-talkie, his sister started crying. The kid's mum was either out of range or ignoring her half of the walkie-talkie, and her son was really upset because she said she'd be a few minutes, and at this point, it had been close to 30. Kids get bored really easily and don't like being told not to touch X, Y, Z. Things got busy and we had lots of legitimate customers on the stand, making orders. Eventually we had to call hall security, who sent their nicest security lady to explain to the kids that they weren't in trouble, could join the soft play area children, and that they could go with her there while they, security, get a hold of missing mum. It de-escalated quickly, and I went back to writing everything the younger child had disturbed or swapping broken prototypes for backups. The missing mum came back another 40 minutes later and was furious we hadn't watched her children for her. There was a security guard behind her, and her children were with him. She raged that as we were a toy shop, we weren't really, her children should have been fine to play on our stand while she made contacts for her new business. I had to explain that we were a business too, not a nursery, and that none of the items on our stand were intended for, or safety tested for, under 14s, also that she hadn't asked us to watch her kids. She got very loud and personal about our failings to her children when she'd abandoned them in a huge corporate event and even asked for something for her kids' trouble. It turns out security, after reuniting her with the kids, had only allowed her back in the hall to collect a bag she said she'd left on our stand. We said no, they said get out, and she left red-faced and screaming. Bruh, this mother is in another dimension if she thinks she can leave her children in a shop and go out for 40 minutes to make contacts for a new business. Well guys, that's it for today. If you end up enjoying this video, please consider subscribing, and if you missed the last episode on the channel, I'm gonna link it right here. The story is about a woman who sold her house and then after a while demanded to have it back for lower price. Check this out if you haven't, and I'll see you in my next video.